Hello and welcome to my birthday book haul video. For this book haul, these are books that were given to me in some format, either by friends or they were on my wish list, and so family got them for me. And so I just want to kind of go through them. I have them organized by categories, and the first category will be middle grade. I put the Whisperwicks, The Labyrinth of the Lost and Found on my wish list and Barnes & Noble, mostly because I loved the cover. I just thought it was so creative looking. I loved the paperback purple sprayed edges. This is a series. The main reason why I included this in my birthday wish list is because I'm not normally a wish list cover by kind of a person. I usually do a lot of research about a book and really determine, is it one that can take up that precious shelf space. But I feel like for my birthday I can be a little bit more exploratory in what I ask for. This is following a boy named Benjamin, I believe, Benjamiah, and his friend Elizabella. What a cute juxtaposition of names. He, I think, discovers that there is this other kind of magical world that he did not know about. And he ends up getting into it and getting caught up in this labyrinth, and inside is the Minotaur. So I don't know if there's a little bit of Greek mythology in there, but he basically has to figure out how to maneuver in this world. It sounds like it's pretty creepy along the middle grade lines, and so I am excited to pick this up. Probably not immediately. I probably will wait for this to be possibly closer to early fall read, but we will see. Next, this was a gift from a friend. This is The Grace of Wild Things by Heather Fawcett. And I have a friend who knows that I like to do retellings in basically at the end of summer. It's just my kind of transition from summer into starting to my favorite time of year to read, which is in the fall. But I love to do a lot of retellings. And so I was telling her about the ones that I had lined up, and she said, did you know there's an Anne of Green Gables retelling? I absolutely love Heather Fawcett. I did not know that this was inspired by Anne of Green Gables, but lo and behold, it is. I am so excited to have this beautiful copy to read this August. And I will be doing a review on this for sure during that retellings time. Next, I have 3 used books that I ordered with my Pango credits. And so these were gifts to myself with my Pango credits, and I wanted to share them. They were wrapped so beautifully by the seller. She did not know that I was going to kind of hold them aside and open them up on my birthday. Even without knowing that, she wrapped them so lovely, and I'm grateful for that. And anyway, if you're not using Pango, I highly recommend looking into it as a seller, but also as a buyer. Okay, so the first book I have is recommended by Jen at Jen's Reading Life. She and I co-host the Cozy Reader Book Club together, and she had mentioned this series as her favorite, and this is by T.E. Kinsey. This is A Quiet Life in the Country, a Lady Hardcastle mystery. I live in a rural area, and I absolutely love this cover. It's so beautiful. In this, we follow Lady Hardcastle, and then she has a lady's maid named Florence Armstrong. Florence is apparently her own sort of quirky character as well, like a very strong friendship that they have, and that it's kind of like, I guess it would be like Sherlock Holmes and Watson, but you know, they're female, and also I think Florence Armstrong is a force to be reckoned with physically. I think she can really take care of herself. They get embroiled in a murder mystery that is out in the country, and the two of them need to solve this together. There's little clues on the cover. I am excited to dive into this. I really love getting recommendations from people who I share similar likes with books, and I just think I'm going to love this. Next, I could not resist this Miss Read the Fair Acre Festival. This is in the Fair Acre series. I'm so terrible. Isn't this old book beautiful? I am not good at series. So some series I read in order when I know it's really important. I don't know if in misread it's super important. I have read a book in this series around, I think it was centered around Christmas, and liked it. I did not feel like I was missing anything by just kind of picking it up. Leave in the comments below if it's really gonna mess me up if I read this out of order. I love the images in this old 1960s version. I think it's set in October. It's like around the time when our area has their county fairs, and I just think it's just would be a fun fall read. I also picked this up. This is Mercedes Lackey, The Serpent's Shadow. So I love Mercedes Lackey. She still writes books today, but she started to write fantasy in the 80s. I know my library in the new book section has a book that she just wrote that just came out. So she's just a very prolific writer, and I love her works. And so I have not read this. This is her again, I think it's a fairy tale retelling. This I think is supposed to be inspired by Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And so in preparation for my fairy tale retelling era that is coming up quickly, I went ahead and grabbed this beautiful old hardcover edition. This was written in 2001, and honestly, I think part of my choice was because of the cover. Next, as I have now moved into fantasy with this older Mercedes Lackey book, I will continue that with this book that was on my Barnes & Noble wish list, and that is Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek. So again, this is a cover by choice. This, I believe, is a debut novel. What I've since read about it is that this is an ode to wild woodlands and folklore. And I think while this is not, I don't think, a straight fairy tale retelling, this does have a fairy tale vibe to it. And in this we follow Liska, who ends up making a bargain with a warden of the wood. And so I don't know if it's kind of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, because she makes this deal. She ends up going back to his crumbling manor and discovers that she's not the first person who's made a deal with him. And it just gives me, again, Beauty and the Beast kind of vibes, fairy tale vibes. So there's something in the woods that seems sinister, and that she is in peril within those woods. I will most likely read this in my late summer, early autumn fairy tale era and see how much it stands up to that. Next, I have the books that I am most excited about, and that is the Song of Chaos series by Michael R. Miller. I have Ascendant, Unbound, and Defiant. I think there is a fourth one that is coming out either at the end of 2024 or early 2025. And we have in this a Dragon Rider series. And I know, a lot of times you can compare a book to another book or series, and I'm sure the author is thinking, well, it's not the same. But I think there's a flavor, a vibe, a general, if you like this book, then you would like. And it just to me gives me Aragon vibes. And I've heard just that it's very sweet, the relationship between the dragon and the main male character, Holt. I've also heard that it really can be enjoyed not just by adults or necessarily young adults, but even younger readers could enjoy it as well, which I love. I love the idea that there is a book that a reader of any age could love. So I am beyond excited to have these beautiful copies and to be able to start this series ASAP. Lastly, I have a couple nonfictions. I have a friend of mine who gave me a book of Psalms and also Liturgies for Wholeness. This just has all of the Psalms printed out in larger font, which with my old eyes, it's better. And I think the cover is lovely. I love that there is a bookmark. I'm excited to just set this out and have this be something that I just pick up. So for these liturgies for wholeness, there is this theme in this book of body and your spiritual and emotional health being this holistic system that is symbiotic and all related. And so there are thoughts and prayers for the mind, the senses, the heart, the body, the soul, the community, the world, the home, all of that in here. And so I think this is much like a common prayer book. And then lastly, I got this ABC for Book Collectors by John Carter. This was such a surprise. When you buy older books, you do your best to communicate with the seller, to look very closely at photographs. And when you're buying a book that isn't too expensive, that is vintage, you kind of feel like, well, it's not that much of an investment. It's just an older version. But when you start to really care about the versions that you're buying, and they are possibly a little bit more expensive, you do start to feel a little bit nervous about it. I recently ordered a Gene Stratton Porter. The photos online looked really great. And when the person mailed it to me, they didn't wrap it. They put it in like an Amazon envelope and just sent it off. And of course, the dust jacket got torn. It crumbled a little bit because it was just it wasn't wrapped at all. Anyway, all of that to say, this book gives you the lingo and explanations and things that you need to be looking for and terminology for someone who is an antiquarian book collector. And I am excited to just kind of go through it slowly. I will probably take notes and just make sure that I know what I'm getting into as I am looking more and more into buying heirloom vintage copies of books. The last book haul item that I have for this video is that my husband got me an e-reader. So I am now the owner of a Kindle Paperwhite. He and my kids did such a great job with the accessories, and it's just really beautiful. I have a few books that I've been collecting on the Kindle app from my other devices, but to have an e-reader is a different experience. It's not something I've ever done before, but I'm excited to be able to access my Kindle library from this device in something that's bigger than my phone, but not so hard on the eyes as an iPad is. And I think something that will be really great as we continue to travel in our camper more. As much as I love the physical copy of books and just, sort of being able to touch them and smell them and have them with me at times, I do think having an e-reader is just a lot more convenient for travel. Thanks so much for watching, and let me know what of these books that you've read, or if you have any recommendations for fairy tale retelling since I mentioned that, or some of your favorite books, or let me know if you have any cover buys that you have made that have been successful. Because again, with me putting cover buys on my wish list, hopefully they pan out, but I won't know for a little bit. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.